Welcome to day 18 of our January Challenge 2018. And yesterday we started on one of our mini pieces, which is this Rondo boat. And it's named that after the piece, the Grandjani piece. And I just thought I wanted to show you the book that it came from, which is the short pieces from the Masters. And it's the third piece in there. So this is the piece that's inspired this work, and from which the ideas for different patterns and different finger choices have come from, so that this Rondo boat piece becomes a feeder piece, if you will, for the actual rondo. So yesterday we learnt our first 8 bars, our first iteration of the tune, and it went like this: 1 and 2 and And I didn't mention yesterday, but that's marked piano, so we'll just do that at a nice gentle volume there. So on to today, we're on to the next 8 bars. It's our second reiteration of the tune. This piece takes the form of a variations. So don't be fooled by the rondo name in this piece, it's just harking back to the original. So here we go with today's. I'll play it through for us first. 1 and 2 and we'll start. The first part is identical to yesterday in that we've got a C in the right hand, C and E in the left hand, and we play those 3 times. On the third time in the top hand, you've done finger 2 initially, 2, 2, and then you do 3, 2, 1, C, D, E. Just like yesterday, only today we're doing it forte, so really nice and loud. So if we just do those first couple of bars, 1 and 2 and next bit, left hand is just going to play 3 Gs, keeping it nice and simple. And we'll just do that with finger 2. Top hand is taking on the tune, and it's moving in thirds. So when you play a third, you've got your finger 2 on one note, in this case middle C. You miss out a string, and then you have your thumb on the next note up there. So I've got finger 2 on the C and my thumb on the E. Play those at the same time. To really make sure they happen together, really snap that thumb over the top and the finger in. Then we go down 1, back to the C, and then walk up. Okay, it's that same tune we did yesterday, but with the thirds underneath. And a really good tip for you, if you find when you play notes that are meant to be happening at identically the same time, whether that's in one hand or maybe you're doing a scale with both hands. If you find that one note, whether it's one hand or it's the lower note of the third, is sounding before the other note, so that you're playing a little bit like that, a good way to get around it is to consciously choose to switch it on its head. So if you find that you're always playing that finger 2 slightly before your thumb, then think, okay, this time when I play it, I'm going to make my thumb play before that finger. And you'll probably find that actually what will happen is that they'll fall identically together. And just as simple as that can solve the issue, rather than sort of thinking, right, I must make that a little bit later and that a bit. Just think, okay, I'm just going to turn it on its head, and actually you'll probably find that it completely solves it. So if we put those 2 bars together, this is bar 11 and 12. 3 Gs in the left and the thirds moving in the top hand. 1 and 2 and okay, nice and straightforward. Our next part, in the music you'll see there's a P, and then there's a squiggly line written perfectly horizontally in between the two lines of music, in between the treble clef and the bass clef. And that is telling us to play down by the soundboard. Okay, it's in there because it happens in JaNEWary's Rondo. So this is to hark to that. And the right hand is playing very similar to what it did yesterday at this point for Merrily Merrily. All the way down to the C this time. So that's nice and easy, only we're doing it down by the soundboard. So we bring it lower and just watch there, because we've come lower, it's likely your thumb will have dropped a bit. Just be really conscious of playing that thumb cleanly and not doing as what happened with me just now, not falling into that other string. And we've got that 2 3 2 3 happening in the middle there. So 1 1 2 2 3 2 3. And 2 3 is particularly useful when we're down by the soundboard because of that whole issue I just explained with the thumb. So it really does help, and that's where it particularly comes in JaNEWary's piece as well. The left hand is doing all the notes that belong to an arpeggio, a C arpeggio. So we're starting on the highest C, which is middle C for this, then down to the G, down to the E, and finishing on the low C. Okay, and it's fitting that in between the top notes so that we have right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right. Okay, so let's actually try that properly and keep everything, it's quite close to the soundboard, about an inch away at most if possible. 1 and 2 and that's grand. Okay, it's marked piano, so it wants to be fairly quiet. By virtue of being down there, you probably will go quieter anyway, because unless you really try hard, you're naturally going to play quieter when the strings are, when you're playing in that more, it's the less resonant part. When you play in the middle of the string, the vibration happens really evenly from there, and you can do a big pull. When you're down there, it's much harder to put the pull on it, so you'll naturally be a bit quieter. And make sure to avoid your nails, even though things might have dropped a bit. There are some pieces out there that ask you to use nails down there. And that can be really effective, but that's not what this piece is looking for. It wants very clean sounds. So, okay. And then to finish this off, our right hand is doing, like it did yesterday, the G walking down to the C. So I think yesterday I went with 1 2 1 2 3 there, which just helped keeping that emphasis on the beats like that. Left hand here has got a G, then back onto that G and add your thumb on the B, and then down to C and G. And that last chord there you could do with 3 and 1 in the left hand, because it's the outer two notes of a triad. A triad being play 1, miss 1, play 1, miss 1, play 1. And we're getting rid of that as well, so it's the outer two notes, so finger 3 is the perfect one for that. If you're using your thumb, you could choose instead, like we've done elsewhere in this piece, to play it with 2 and 4, even though you don't have your thumb placed. So you do what you feel comfortable with there. So that those last two bars in the left hand could be G, G and B, and then the low C with the G. So you could do it like that, which is very little movement because our finger 2 has stayed on that G the whole time. Or you can do G, G and B, and then move it to your thumb on the G. Whatever you feel comfortable with. So shall we put all of today together? Okay. So starting then in bar 9, 1 and 2 and super, well done.